The first topic that I wanted to cover was how not eating enough can slow down or even stop your fat loss. There are quite a few people that I've talked to recently that have mentioned that when they are incredibly busy, they forget to eat and are wondering how and why this is negatively impacting their weight loss goals. In these cases, I see people where they're eating 500 or 600 calories total for the day, and they're wondering why their weight loss is slowing down. Since the human body is incredibly complex, I'm going to simplify things a little bit just for the purposes of answering this question. So there is a calorie range that's different per person and kind of depends on what you eat too, but where the fat loss is going to happen continuously. Fat loss is not linear, meaning it's not going to be the same week to week and it's not going to be predictable, but there's this range where it's going to be smooth sailing for the most part. And my goal is to be able to help you kind of stay in that range and basically lose weight while still feeling full and feeling like you're eating a lot. You kind of want to be towards the top of the range so that you can eat more rather than at the bottom of the range. And there's a couple of reasons for that, one of which is being metabolism. So when you are closer to the range of calories that are needed to maintain your weight, the fat loss is going to be slower. On the other end, there's going to be a bottom line that when you're kind of right above that line, your fat loss is going to be faster. But the moment you kind of cross over that line, you'll start to become incredibly aware of how eating too little can negatively impact your health. You might get cravings, your sleep quality is going to crash, you're just going to feel lethargic no matter what. Caffeine's going to stop working for a little bit. Things like that, it kind of just all goes south really quickly. There's a study done during World War II called the Minnesota Starvation Experiment, and it was done with people that were objecting the war, but they volunteered to help do experiments. And they were basically systematically starved over a long period of time. Their calories were below starvation levels, and it showed that fat loss itself does not slow down. There's no starvation mode. So it's not that the metabolism is entirely shutting down. Usually when your metabolism slows down, it's in response short term. There is some changes in metabolism as you lose weight and get smaller. And as a result of being lethargic, you move less. So you then require less calories. So those are all kind of factors. You would still continue to lose weight on hardly any calories coming in on a long enough timeline. However, in the short term, when your body sees too few calories coming in, it perceives it as a threat to your survival in the short term. You're going to start to conserve fat in anticipation of a famine. You may start to burn fuel for muscle. You may start to burn muscle for fuel, and then again, you would lower your metabolism even more by the loss of muscle mass, which is going to create an unhealthy cycle. Usually what happens is you're basically not hungry all day and you hardly eat anything all day, and then you come home because you have now a smaller eating window. It's incredibly difficult to eat a lot of vegetables and lean protein sources and lots of fiber in a really small window because those things fill you up. What usually ends up happening is it's really easy to snack on high fat, high carb, high salt foods to get your calories into your hunger level, and then the calories kind of can get out of control. And again, that's kind of locking you in a vicious cycle. And those are the kind of calories that you're not planning for. They're incredibly hard to track because when you're snacking, you basically might not be cognizant of how much you're taking in. And this is basically working against what your stated goals are. If you want to lose weight, this is basically the worst way to do it, is pretty much my point. So after this period of when you're not really eating hardly anything at all, then you eat more, like, hey, I'm hungry today, I'm going to eat more. Your body is then kind of primed for fat loss. When your body perceives there's a threat of starvation, it primes itself to store fat so that you can make it through. We're not facing starvation or famines for the most part anymore as people, but that's basically what your body has been set up to do over thousands of years, is that when there's no food coming in, the first time there is, store it as fat so that you can survive a famine. That's just how it works. You basically, in knowing this, you can make this work for you instead of against you. But if you're basically eating nothing all day, it's probably currently working against you and your goals. So again, you'd be storing additional fat, further reducing your metabolism. So as a result, being in the cycle of eating less and then eating normally, resulting in fat gain due to hormone changes and metabolism changes, is not a place you want to be. Like I said, this does not really impact fat loss in the long term. If you consistently eat no calories, hardly at all, you will lose fat, but you will be incredibly unhealthy, and you could do irreparable harm to your body for the most part. So I'd really ask that you kind of avoid that behavior, and please reach out to me if you need some help with that. So to lose fat and keep it off in the healthiest and most sustainable way possible, you have to walk that fine line of being above the bottom line and being below the line of being at your calorie maintenance. And that's kind of like the zone where fat loss is going to happen. And that's where I'd like to guide you through. So it's possible that if you're consistently hitting your goals and fat loss slows down, and it's not just a water weight fluctuation, that we may need to adjust your goals, because as I said, as you lose weight, your calorie needs unfortunately go down. And if you're tired from being in a calorie deficit, your activity levels may automatically decrease as well. So those are all factors. But my intention is to help guide you through that, walking that line of where fat loss is going to happen optimally versus where it's going to be weight gain, or you're going to be stalled out and put your body into a bunch of stress and cause your hormones to change.